KPSP Local 2's Natalie Brand reports there are now around 11,000 women serving time in California prisons right now.
Brooke, that's right. There are still many more men than women in prison, but the number of women behind bars has grown over the years. I got an inside look at a women's prison here in Southern California, built in the 1950s, and until 1987, it was the only prison in the state for female felons.
Welcome to the California Institution for Women in Corona. There may be red brick and green grass, but this is a prison, a place where Cynthia Wilson has spent the last 19 years.
When I was 20, it was my boyfriend who was 40, and there was a lot of drugs involved, and he tried to prostitute me, and I ended up shooting him.
Wilson is serving a life sentence. Now 38 years old, she says ironically, prison put her on the right path.
It saved my life.
Through therapy, self-help groups, and substance abuse programs.
My life is really full. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, doesn't end till 8 o'clock at night. So it's real full.
Right now, she's taking college courses, doing graphics art, and training service dogs, the so-called prison puppy program.
Good boy. To have something that loves you unconditionally, and to know that that you're giving back.
Wilson says she likes who she's become, although admits it's been a rough ride. It's estimated 95% of the 2,300 women here have suffered some type of trauma in their life, whether mental or physical.
The time that I have the women here, I want to make sure that they get everything that they can so that when they get out, that they'll be productive citizens and not want to come back.
The warden of CIW, Dawn Davison, says significant changes have been made in the treatment of women in prison over the last 5 years, as the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation realized their needs from a security standpoint and a personal one aren't the same as men.
What we have seen is that the recidivism rate goes way, way down when we adapt the programs to suit what the women's needs are.
And while inmate Cynthia Wilson credits this place for changing her life, she says living here isn't easy.
It's hard to be around, surrounded by so many women. You never have any privacy. You never, women are a little catty sometimes.
Wilson says she has few friends, and as we saw firsthand, living conditions are cramped. This is your typical cell right here, about 8 by 10 with one sink, one toilet, and each woman gets one mattress, a pillow, and all of her stuff has to fit inside a locker. And not everyone has a cell. Over 370 women live in TV and day rooms. Warden Davison estimates around 85% of the women serving time are in for nonviolent, low-level property crimes or drug-related crimes.
So as the sentencing laws changed and we put more people in prison for those types of things, it hit primarily the women.
Warden Davison says very often relationships lead women into criminal behavior, and if domestic violence was involved, only in the early 1990s did California courts begin to recognize battered women syndrome as a defense for women accused of murdering abusive partners. Cynthia Wilson says she's paying her debt for what happened years ago, leaning on family for support.
I'm really close to my niece and nephew.
Despite being considered a lifer, she hopes one day she'll get to go home. And she believes she's a lot closer than she was 19 years ago.
This is not the end. Yeah, with me, I wake up at middle of the night a lot and I think, wow, I'm doing life, I'm in prison, and it's almost hard to believe. After the years, it doesn't get any easier, it gets harder. And I just tell myself, this is not the end. And there's going to be something after this. I just have to work and stay on the right path to get there.